Imagine being forced into a marriage by the gods themselves. You've come seeking revenge, armed to the teeth, only to be told you must pick your husband by his feet. You choose the wrong man, and soon you're divided between jagged mountains and crashing waves. This isn't just a myth. It's a tale of compromise gone wrong, of two divine beings whose worlds never quite fit together. Today we explore the story of Skadi and Njord, a mismatched union between the goddess of winter and the god of the sea. Our story begins with a fierce woman of the north. Skadi is no demure maiden, she's a Jotun, a giantess. Yet she is also accepted among the gods. She is associated with winter, skiing, mountains, and bow hunting. In some sources, she is described as strong-willed, beautiful, vengeful, and ruthless. When winter descends and the mountains are covered in ice, it is said to be Skadi, striding across the snow. Skadi's father, the giant Thiassi, kidnapped the goddess Idun and her apples of youth. When the gods freed Idun and killed Thiassi, Skadi's world shattered. She donned armor and weapons and stormed into Asgard to avenge her father. Her pale eyes burned with fury, and she demanded justice. The gods were reluctant to fight this formidable huntress. Instead, they offered reparations. First, Odin took Thiassi's eyes and threw them into the sky, where they became 2 stars. Next, the gods promised to make Skadi laugh. No easy task when she was consumed by grief. Many of their attempts failed until Loki, ever the trickster, tied one end of a rope to a goat and the other around his own sensitive parts. As he and the goat engaged in a bizarre tug of war, both screeching in pain, Loki eventually fell into Skadi's lap, and she couldn't help but laugh. The final gift was a husband. To avoid favoritism, the gods imposed a strange condition. Skadi had to choose her husband by the appearance of his legs and feet alone. She hoped to choose Balder, the most beautiful of the gods. Instead, she chose the sea god Njord, mistaking his strong, well-formed ankles for Balder's. Skadi felt tricked, but there was no turning back. Who is this unexpected groom? Njord is the god of wind and waters, a deity of the sea and prosperity. Fishermen and sailors invoked him for safe voyages and wealth. He belonged to the Vanir, a tribe of gods often associated with fertility and the natural world, and was sent to the Aesir as part of a peace settlement after the Aesir-Vanir War. Njord was already the father of the beloved gods Freyr and Freya, although their mother was his unnamed sister. Njord's home was Noatun, the place of ships, a bright, warm haven by the sea. He loved the sound of swans and the rhythmic lap of waves. The contrast with Skadi's world could not have been greater. The wedding of Skadi and Njord was celebrated with pomp in Asgard. The gods hoped that this union would seal the peace between them and Skadi's people. Skadi, still grieving but bound by her promise, stood beside a god she had not chosen. Njord, wise and weathered from years at sea, tried to be patient. After the festivities, reality set in. Where would this new couple live? Njord's beloved Noatun lay on the coast, while Skadi longed for her father's hall in the mountains. Thrymheim, meaning thunder home. Thrymheim was dark and cold, perched among peaks where snow never melted. Wolves howled through the night, and the air was thin and biting. To please his new bride, Njord agreed to spend 9 nights in Thrymheim. The journey was treacherous. They climbed over rock and scree, waded through deep snow and braved glacial winds. Skadi was invigorated. Njord was miserable. After 9 nights, Njord admitted that he loathed the mountains. In a lament preserved in the Prose Edda, he complained, "Mountains I loathed, no longer than 9 nights did I stay there. The howling of the wolves seemed ugly to me compared to the songs of the swans." He missed the gentle sounds of the sea and the warmth of the sun. It was now Skadi's turn to experience Njord's world. They spent 9 nights in Noatun. The coastal hall was filled with sunlight, the smell of salt, and the constant crash of waves. Sailors were busy at the docks, and gulls cried from dawn to dusk. To Skadi, used to the silence of snow, this was torture. She could not sleep for the noise. Skadi answered Njord's lament with one of her own. "Sleep I could not on my sea strand couch. The scream of the seafowl wakes me every morning." Her ears rang with the cries of gulls. She longed for the solitude of the mountains. After their trial period, both gods realized that neither could endure the other's home. Skadi loved the cold, wild peaks where she could ski and hunt. Njord needed the sea breezes and the lull of waves. Some versions of the story say Skadi departed for the mountains, and the two separated. Others note that they decided to live apart while remaining married, taking turns visiting each other. Modern commentators have likened this arrangement to a divine divorce. The lamentations recorded in the Gylfaginning highlight the depth of their discomfort. Njord's complaint about wolves and Skadi's complaint about seagulls are almost comic in their simplicity, yet they encapsulate the profound differences between their worlds. Njord and Skadi seem to represent opposing seasons, the summer of the sea and the winter of the mountains. Some see the myth as reflecting ethnic divisions, coastal Norse versus inland Sami, or as a commentary on the broader feud between gods and giants. What happened to Skadi after she left Njord? Some traditions say she later married Odin and bore him sons. She remained a respected figure among the gods, known for her sharp archery and her role in Loki's punishment. She was the one who tied a venomous snake above Loki's head so its venom would drip onto him. Skadi's legacy endures in her association with skiing and winter. Some even speculate that the name Scandinavia derives from her name. Njord, meanwhile, returned to Noatun, where he continued to govern the winds and waves. He is said to survive Ragnarok and to return after the world's renewal. He fathered Freyr and Freya with his sister and remained a beloved god of sailors. Why tell this story? At one level, it's a nature myth. The marriage between a mountain goddess and a sea god dramatizes the meeting of winter and summer, mountain and ocean, giants and gods. But there's more. Scholars argue that Njord served as a mediator. As a Vanir god, given to the Aesir as a hostage, he could bridge the divide between gods and giants, just as he attempted to bridge the divide between sea and mountain. Yet even he could not overcome the gulf between Skadi's world and his own. Their failure to compromise prefigures the larger failure of gods and giants to find lasting peace, leading ultimately to Ragnarok. Others see the story as a commentary on marriage. The Old Norse sagas show that divorce and irreconcilable differences were recognized in Viking society. Skadi and Njord's separation illustrates that even divine beings can make mismatched choices. Modern writers have been inspired to ask, what if Skadi had stayed? And to explore themes of compromise, identity, and belonging. In the end, Skadi and Njord never stopped being who they were. She remained the huntress of the frozen peaks. He remained the lord of waves and wind. The marriage could not change their natures. The tale of their mismatched union reminds us that love and duty cannot bridge every divide. Sometimes The worlds we inhabit are simply too different, and the kindest thing we can do is to let each other go. As you listen to the wind in the pines or the crash of the surf, remember Skadi and Njord, and the sound that each could not bear. Their story asks us to consider how far we would go for love, and what happens when compromise fails. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Norse myth.